iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters. Holy cow, Bobby Jonas,
How you doing?
Brent McCoy,
Good evening.
Chris Scales,
Evening, Mike.
David Hall,
Here.
Gregory Hectus,
What up?
Joe Owen,
How you doing?
Mason Stiver,
Hey, Mike.
Bill Linden,
Hello.
Tony Groves,
Good evening, gentlemen.
Tony Rochette,
Gobble, gobble.
and returning guest Steve Thompson. Hey guys.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Wow, it's like roll call, man. I think this is a record, guys, of how many people we have on the podcast at once. But I haven't counted. There's at least a dozen. So, but welcome. So let's talk about first iRacers Lounge sponsors, the Old Bastards Racing League. And of course, they have their normal Monday event sponsored by the iRacers Lounge at the Lucas Oil Raceway. ARCA professional driver Kevin Pearson captured the pole and led all 100 laps to win the race. They had 7 cautions. Wow, that's amazing. 6 cautions were early in the race, with racers being overly aggressive trying to gain spots on the restarts. As the fastest way around Lucas Oil was the top, Jason Swan gained 20 spots to win the Hard Charger Award. Steve Thompson finished second, with league owner Mike Schrader coming in third. 4 drivers compete in the iRacers Lounge ARCA Championship: Kevin Pearson, Steve Thompson, Mike Schrader, and Chris Monroe. Tony Groves, you qualified 9th in a 32-car field before getting caught up in a horrible crash and finished 26th. Chris, you got 28th. Ouch.
Yeah, that was a rough one for me. I was one of those guys getting caught up in those early cautions. But it started with a bad qualifying effort. I think I qualified 17th, 18th, something like that. And then that track closes up surprisingly quick when somebody spins. And the first wreck I didn't get into, but I had to stop completely and just got into the grass a little bit to get around it. But that put me all the way in the back, and then got caught up in the next couple. I just couldn't get stopped fast enough and got DQ'd out because the 4X for each one of those pile ups and the run through the grass was enough to go over my 9.
Dang.
Yeah, I got 9th in qualifying. Like, holy cow, I couldn't believe it. That was crazy. And, for the short amount of laps I was actually on the track for, I was kind of keeping up, and I was feeling pretty confident. And the wreck that I got caught up in, I actually thought I was going to make my way through it, and just at the last second I got smacked by somebody. Just kind of came out of nowhere, took a bunch of damage. I came down pits to get it all fixed up, got back out on track, but I still had a tire issue. My tire was stuck in the middle of my hood, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do at that point except just park it and walk away sulking a little bit.
You can't drive with 3 tires?
It was a nice light show I was putting on the bottom part of the track trying to get back to pits, but I figured I better not.
Okay. And then, Steve, tell us about your run with a P2. I also am curious, how does he lead every lap with all these cautions in a long race?
We have a choice of lane choice in our series, so they can take the top or the bottom. So the preferred lane was the top there. So I was trying to make the next round for the final championship run. So he was way faster than I was. I mean, I couldn't hardly keep up. So I just kept trying to get up to the top lane as soon as the green flag dropped. So I was starting on the inside every time, and there was no catching him.
All right. And he, even through pit cycles and stuff, he never lost the lead once. Nobody stayed out and led a lap.
No, everybody, you could go about 75 laps on the fuel. So we had a long green flag go, and then the caution. We had a late caution, so everybody came in and pitted, and of course he got out in front.
All right.
It's hard to beat a pro, but some of the quicker guys in the league can get surprisingly close. I know Tony was upset that he was a few tenths off in practice. But I pointed out, I was like, dude, that's an ARCA driver. That's you're a few tenths slower than. That's not bad, man.
Right there.
Yeah, not at all.
All right. Well, Steve, tell us, about the OBRL, the Old Bastards Racing League. What's happening here as Thanksgiving approaches? Seasons are wrapping up. You're thinking about next year's plans. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to thank the iRacers Lounge for sponsoring this season, and we've got some exciting news because you guys are coming on for another season. So that the new season starts December 10th, so we're really excited about that. We have the two podcast professional, Chris Scales and Tony Groves. They're in the ARCA races all the time, and sometimes Chris shows up for the Xfinity Series, and they've really added a personal touch to the podcast, having those two guys talk about the races and their personal experiences in the ARCA Series. So we really appreciate that. The membership applications with the league have increased over 20% since our sponsorship with iRacers Lounge, and there's a spot on the application that asks how they heard about the Old Bastards League. So that's really valuable information. We can find out where they're coming from, and we're tickled to have you guys on board.
Well, absolutely. We're happy to, and I think our listenership has actually gone up too, because you guys are like the masters of social media, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I do for a living, is SEO and social media. So I'm glad it's working out for you guys. I try to get you plastered around a couple times a week, so we increase the membership. iRacers Lounge. I mean, if you're an iRacer, I don't know why you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You guys do such a great job, and especially if you're somebody that I'm fortunate I don't have to drive to work, but I listen to the podcast all the time. But if you're driving to work, you should be downloading this and listening to it. If you don't have time to go through the forums with all the news and information there, you're really missing out.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that. So tell us what's going on in the future here. I mean, coming up for December and 2019.
Yeah, we just had our championship races in both the Metro Ford Cup Series and the Seat Time Racing School Series, which is the Xfinity Series. Those just ended on Saturday for the Xfinity and Sunday for the Cup Series. And so Metro Ford sponsors our Cup Series, and we're really excited. Patrick Milligan is the owner of Metro Ford. He's been an OBRL member for over 2 years, and he's a great sponsor. He's really diligent about helping us out, and which was kind of cool. He sent out to the top 20 drivers in the Cup Series. He sent out a swag bag that consisted of an Old Bastards Racing League baseball hat with the Metro Ford Cup logo, a custom T-shirt that had the car number and the name of the driver on the back, and also some custom shopping bags. And also the champion, Mike Franklin, he received a custom bobblehead with his picture on it, or he'll be getting it, a $50 Amazon gift card, and the second place champion, Dode Hoskins, received a $25 gift card. You can contact Patrick at emetroford.com/OBRL. He'll give you guys a great discount if you're looking for any new or used vehicle, any make, model, SUV, car, whatever. We've had some of our members buy vehicles from him and have them delivered, and they just can't talk highly about their deal with him. There's no BS involved.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a hookup through iRacing.
Yeah, and also, if somebody's interested in a new Ford vehicle, Mike Schrader, who owns the league, he's a retired Ford engineer. So if somebody's, needing a new Ford car, he gets so many pins a year, so he can get you that pin too and give you a discount. So maybe, let us know. Get
Cool.
in contact with us.
So you got the Ford Series, and what days is that, or?
Yeah, the Metro Ford Series is on Sundays, starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and our new season starts this Sunday. It's going to be a 12-week series, and we've got kind of an interesting program. We call it our Jackpot Series, in both the Seat Time Racing School Series and the Metro Ford Series. It's a buy-in. It's $20 per series, and we've almost got, it's almost full. So if you guys want to anybody wants to get in, go join the league. And it pays 20 spots, and like the 20th place will end up with about 12 to 15 bucks back. So it's just kind of a fun thing. Try to get people to participate all the way through the 12-week series.
All right, cool. I love the payout at the end. That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Yeah, we have one of our other sponsors is Seat Time Racing School. They're a real NASCAR racing school. They're located on the East Coast. They're out of Charlotte, and actually one of our members teaches the racing school there, Brian Glass. He's been a longtime member of ours, and anyways, the Seat Time Racing School. We're going to have a 40-week series, which starts in February. They're actually have donated 3 racing packages. So those packages have a value of about $1,000 on them, and 2 will be for the first and second place winners, and then the last one will be designated for somebody that's completed at least 90% of the races, and there'll be a drawing on that. So that's some pretty exciting news.
That's nice. Yeah. So even if you can't compete for the win, you still might have a chance to win it, and that's pretty cool, a way to do it. Well, like very exciting prizes for sure.
Yeah. Also, we've got one of the members, Charles Idell. He's donated $400, and that's going to be for the 40-week series, and also for the Seat Time Racing Series. And that's going to be on the same premise too. If you show up 90% of the races, there's going to be a random drawing for $200 in each series. So that's big. And if we get some more donations, that could go up. It could go to where we add a second, maybe a third person being drawn on that.
Nice. All right. Well, man, it sounds like a lot of activity. I mean, you got racing pretty much every night of the week, it sounds like.
Yeah, Monday night, of course, is the iRacers Lounge ARCA podcast series, and then Wednesday night is our truck series. And we have a new sponsor. We've had Keener Farms sponsoring the series, and we signed a new sponsor this week, and it's Go Creative Wireless, and they're based out of Southern California, and they have a wireless service, but they also just started a new streaming service where they have a streaming service that has 78 network channels on it, and they have a free 7-day trial with that right now. They just started it. So if anybody's looking for a streaming service, it could be anywhere in the United States. They can go to gocreativewireless.net/OBRL and get that 7-day trial. It's really a good deal. And also, if anybody lives there in Southern California, we've got some of the iRacers that actually live in really rural areas that don't have great internet service, and Go Creative Wireless specializes in those rural areas. And actually a couple of guys in the league are using the service, and they've got really low latency. They actually have lower latency than some of the guys that are running, 300 gig megabyte services. So they're a great company. Go check them out.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I was just trying to help some guy in the Facebook pages who's trying to race with Verizon Hotspot. And I was telling him, well, latency is your problem. You're going to have to find something else.
Yeah, with the with the wireless service, they're actually point-to-point network, so it's different than actual cell service. So they're getting, like my friends there, they're getting 20 megabytes a second download speeds, but the latency is a big one. And when you go on and check them out when they're iRacing, I mean, they're 66 milliseconds the whole time, which is as good as any service you're going to get out there.
Yeah, that says it all right there. Well, very cool. We're happy to hear from you about how the season's been going, and obviously we've been tracking Monday nights, but there's a lot of stuff going on. We were talking about Mike Franklin. He won your championship, right?
Yeah, he won the Metro Ford Cup series on Sundays. Yep, 40-week series.
40 weeks. Holy cow.
Yeah, we follow the regular iRacing season, or iRacing, the regular NASCAR Cup season. So, there's a couple off weeks, but we always add a race in there. It's usually a non-points race, but we'll add a fun race in so we keep people interested in racing.
Okay, cool. And so you start that on the Daytona 500 week?
Yes, that's correct. Both the Seat Time Racing School Xfinity Series and the Metro Cup Series.
Cool, cool. All right, what else do you got there, Steve? You want to tell people how to get hooked up with you guys and drop them a link and that kind of thing?
Yeah, go to OBRL.racing or OBRL.net. We've got a bunch of different domains, or you can check us out on Facebook, Old Bastards Racing League. So you can you have to go in and sign an application, fill out an application. You have to be 35 years or older and under 3,500 I rating. We try to keep the racing where it's close and door to door. So come check us out, guys. We've got some spots opened up, and we'd love to have some new members. We get probably close to 100 applications a week, and we kind of go through them and try to figure out who's going to fit the league the best. So come check us out.
All right, cool. Well, we certainly appreciate being involved with you guys. You guys have some great racing. It's always fun to talk about. So welcome. I guess let's get into topics. Brent, you're up first.
All right, we got some news on the day-night situation that's happening with iRacing, and it's pretty good news, I think. It says here that Sean Nash went and made a post on the forums page. Sean is a staff member through iRacing. Said that the day-to-night it is totally on track for release at this time, and he went and posted a recent image of it. They've also been posting quite a bit lately on the iRacing Instagram page and their Twitter page about some videos with the day-night transitions. I haven't seen a video yet of the sped up version from day to night, but there's kind of a late evening video in there, and it looks fabulous. It looks absolutely amazing, in my opinion. Even with this open wheel car that's going around, he's even got a I believe they're at Richmond, if I'm not mistaken, in a NASCAR stock car. So this is exciting news. He says it's going to be on for release around in the December build, hopefully. They're just working on the final kinks with it.
Yeah, look at that sunset, man. I mean, the colors in the sky. They got it right for sure. I'm really excited for this, and as we'll find out later, this is going to be a big part of the upcoming build. All right, Bobby, Championship World Truck Series champion. Tell us about him. All right, Bobby must have fell off. I'll jump on this one. Are you there?
Yep, just hitting the wrong button. Hey, how about cool is this though for Brett Moffitt and iRacing? They actually sponsored him at Eldora this year, and lo and behold, he would go on to win the championship final at Homestead this year. And then if you guys actually caught his interview in Victory Lane, he actually thanked iRacing for coming aboard this year and helping him out.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome that iRacing has a small part of the truck championship, as a sponsor of at least one race. And Eldora is would probably be considered a crown jewel too, of that.
There was actually an interesting story for that team. It was definitely a Cinderella story, as they didn't know if they were going to be able to make every race this season.
Yeah, they're a very small team. There's only 8 to 10 employees on that team at all. One of my good friends works there. That's a big deal for them to make it the whole year with the budget they had. And it kept getting smaller as the year went along, so the iRacing stepping up was a huge deal for those guys.
Yeah, it is a Cinderella story, and that they struggled with financially to get to each race, and I understand next year is still very fluid for this team anyway. Brett has nothing signed. I just heard him on a podcast, Brett Moffitt, and he's looking for a job right now, and he's the champion. He has no job. He has nothing. And Hattori Racing, they're actually looking at Natalie Decker, I think, who's a young lady who's trying to come up to the truck series. I'm sure she's bringing a sponsor, and that's probably why they're talking to her.
Probably bring Monster with her, wouldn't she?
I don't know.
That or the 29 sponsor that she carries through the ARCA season.
Right. But congrats to Brett Moffitt, and who wants to talk Xfinity? Chris.
Yeah, I actually caught most of the races this year, but I didn't get to watch the championship race. But Tyler Reddick ended up coming away the champion, which was fine with me. As a junior motorsports driver, I'm good with it. And since Sadler wasn't in the top four, why not? I guess. But wasn't sure. I thought I had seen him on iRacing at
Oh yeah,
some
he's
point.
on iRacing, or we wouldn't be talking about it.
Oh, I was gonna say
Yeah, I
'cause
mean,
I was almost positive I did.
yeah,
but
all three of the champions are actually iRacers. So
he's got his name hidden. He's secret.
okay, and then of course I'll say Joey Logano as well. Congratulations to him, and what a pass he made on the outside, guys. I mean, he just blew by him. I mean, it was like Martin was standing still. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, congrats to Joey. He is on iRacing, not much, but he does have an account. I have seen him around occasionally. So
And his spotter there is the iRacing spotter, TJ Majors.
well, yeah, TJ, of course, he's very involved in iRacing. Yeah, congrats to him as well.
That was awesome championship week, and all three races were great.
All right, and then let's jump into our own champion, Ray Alfala, who won the Peak Series. He was in Miami for the Homestead event, where he got presented the big check for 10 grand. But from Clint Boyer, it looks like, is standing there with him. His fourth title. There was also some social media where he was at the Ford tent meeting fans and signing diecast, and he actually has a little diecast of his car, and he had a line of fans, and he's got a Sharpie, and taking photos with everybody, and I was a little surprised by that. I didn't think there was a demand for that, but that is cool that Ford set him up for that.
Well, it was just the Ford thing he was signing, not his car.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm like, well, how do they do that?
The Ford one was just presented to him. It was looks like it was only one of one.
Now, with that being said, we did find on Facebook a tribute by Kyle Putz, who actually created a Ray Alfala diecast for the occasion. And you can, I don't know if it's for sale, but if it is, you can contact Kyle Putz, P-U-T-Z, on Facebook. He's got pictures on his Facebook page of the actual diecast. He's got a box with artwork on it and everything and I think the idea is he's giving one to Ray. What else happened with Alfala? He got a ring, guys. iRacing posted a picture on Facebook of the championship NASCAR ring. I mean, get a gander at that. I mean, that's not something to cough about there. That is nice.
It's definitely
Got the big
something
old
to
checkered
have.
flag on it. It looks like the inlay is for like diamonds. I don't know if it does have diamonds on it. It's hard to tell from the photo, but boy, it kind of reminds me of like a Super Bowl ring.
And from what I understand, it's almost a replica of the Cup Car Championship ring that Logano will get.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a beauty for sure. Well, congrats to Ray. I mean, obviously he got it done this year. So, one more thing on this: most popular driving. Remember, we talked about Matt Busa put up a poll in the Google Forums to post or to vote on this, and the top 10 so far after 500 votes. Last update was Ray Alfala was the leader. So, I guess he's going to win that too. It says voting does close on November 23rd. So if you guys want to vote, go to the Peak forums, and in there you'll see most popular driver voting thread. All right, Chris, you're next with cake.
Yeah, 1 second. I wasn't quite prepared for this. I don't have it pulled up. I did check out the picture of the cake, however.
How does cake and iRacing go together?
quite well, apparently, when you got a cake artist like this one. This cake looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce this guy's name who's I'm gonna have to retranslate it again. Whose wife made him this cake, but it's hilarious, man. It looks
It's translated for you.
There we go. It looks like him sitting in his rig. It's got his rig, the monitors, him, every little button and detail, all edible apparently.
The triple monitors on little stands, which look like toothpicks.
Can't see what it said on his screens. I don't know if that's like his race team or something. Oh,
That's
it's
the name of his team.
Racing.
Yeah.
Necky Racing, yeah.
But it's amazing, the detail. I mean, it's literally a racing cockpit with triple screens. And look at the keyboard over on the right with all the buttons, individual buttons and everything. It's amazing.
Hey, he's got his gloves sitting right beside him, just about ready to put them on, so he doesn't wreck his wheel. I mean, yeah, the detail is phenomenal.
So also it translated. It's out to since it's in Spanish. There it says, "I have no words for the birthday cake that my wife gave me. It's a top split work for iRacing."
I wish my wife would bake me a cake that looked like a cockpit.
Okay.
That is cool.
Okay, this is kind of silly here, a little bit, but there is even the cord that would run from the steering wheel. You can see it kind of in the setup
squiggly
there.
cord.
Yeah, like this is so cool.
Well done. If you want to see this, go to Twitter and search Neki, Neki Racing, and you'll find that picture. It's pretty cool to see. All right, David, you're next.
All right, I'm really glad this one came up to me because you guys know I love the GTR class cars, or no, GTE class cars. The schedule for the GTE Road to Pro series is out. It's a qualifying series, and they're going to be qualifying on Saturdays, racing on Sundays. The best way to secure a spot is to be 25 overall in points. However, they expect some teams to drop out or choose not to run in the championship series, so there may be some other positions open up. It's going to be a GTE only series, and endurance series competitors that are already in the pro are not allowed to compete. So it has to be people who have not joined that series. And they have a 6-week schedule up. It's running every other week, and the courses are Road Atlanta, Monza, Brands Hatch, Montague, Interlagos, and Nuremberg. Those are some tough tracks. Monza's pretty fun.
Yeah, starting December 22nd, first week. And that's A-class, of course, and that's how you get to the pro, guys. If you want a pro license and you're a road driver, this is it. Are you going to do it, David?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite good enough to hit the top 25, but I'll give it a shot.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, run it anyways, just because, why not, you know?
I'll run it.
Yeah, if I'm off work, I would run it too. I mean, it sounds like fun, so.
It depends on the track.
Just one class, right? It's this GTE.
Yeah, you won't be having to race around slow prototype drivers or GT3s that want to get a big head if it's a race for position.
Okay. Well, check that out. That's exciting. And so, next up, Greg, let's talk about eSport champions in other titles. Now, this stuff is a little bit not related to iRacing, but I thought we would talk about these three things because it is the end of the season. It is sort of related to sim racing in the fact that it's eSports and that kind of thing. So tell us what you got.
Okay, so first we got something that I grew up on playing here is obviously Gran Turismo. That's, you know, being a huge PlayStation guy, so they had their championships with that. I know years ago they used to do this using Gran Turismo. They used to this is how they would get their endurance driver for the GTR car. I don't know if they still do that, but it's good to see that even PlayStation's acknowledging the, you know, the racing world, the virtual world for esports. I don't know. Have any of you guys ever played Gran Turismo before?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to love that series back in the day. And like Mike said, it's not exactly iRacing, but it can definitely be a gateway drug. This is what you do to get them hooked. You get them on the console series, get them get them in these championships like this, so they think they can make a career out of it. I mean, that's what everybody playing games 10 hours a day wants. They wouldn't be able to make a job out of it. Get them into this, and then when they want to move on to race the big boys, then they get iRacing.
Yeah, I didn't go through console games, but I remember buying basically a single-player NASCAR game first before I discovered R Factor. It was kind of my route into the racing world.
Now, there's a video of this Gran Turismo championship. It's almost 3 hours long. When I found this, guys, I started watching it, and I got hooked. I mean, why? It's the presentation of it. It's not about Gran Turismo specifically. It's the way they're doing it. There's a crowd, there's teams, there's cockpits, there's there's a TV component where they have a pretty girl doing an interview with the guy, and after the event, and it's just a whole it makes it look like a sport the way that they broadcast it. And it's a textbook. This is how it should be done. The way they've put this presentation together to be able to watch basically a video game race and make it look legitimate in a way like these are real people, they're really racing, they're all in the same room, there's people rooting for them, they're on teams, all that stuff put together, man, they really blew it out of the park. I was very impressed.
The commentary was spectacular.
Exactly.
It's just as good as what you'd find in real life.
I mean, it is real life. They are actually competing, and it's real racecraft and everything like that. So I'm really glad that it gets serious commentary and people kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, you're right. And I think I said this before, but a lot of what you can see on the sim and drive races like this, you'll see races that are more fun to watch than what you'll see in real life. I mean, there's some really, just like what Mike said, he just turned it on and all of a sudden he's hooked, because of the quality of the broadcast and the racing that he's seeing.
Right. Yeah, and I saw some comment that said that Formula One champ Hamilton was going to be in one of these events, and I kind of watched for his name, but I never saw it. But
yeah, he's sponsored by Sony and Gran Turismo. There, he's a big advocate for them through Mercedes. I guess the next thing was the NASCAR Heat Championship. So this is the one. Who was the president that was talking about using both NASCARs? Steve Phelps. This is the other, the competitor, I guess, for iRacing. It's not really a competitor, but it's another choice for racing is the NASCAR Heat Series. And they had their championship. So a guy named FedEx, or his handle, I guess, is FedEx RCN11, won $10,000 for winning the Miami race. And I guess the impressive thing is he beat a whole bunch of people using wheels with a controller.
Yeah, he was on a controller. Most everyone else was on a wheel. And he won $10,000 for that.
Yeah, which is it's a, you get to go to the weekend and enjoy the weekend in Miami, and then you get to win $10,000 on it. Not a bad weekend there.
Okay, so now I want you to compare the two videos that we just saw, the NASCAR Heat to the Gran Turismo. They're both presenting themselves as eSport, but look at the presentation of the difference in the video. I mean, it's night and day.
Which is what we've been talking about, how NASCAR seems to be in the background of pushing their esports stuff, right? They're not really on board yet completely with it.
If you look at this NASCAR Heat video, they got some, cockpit set up with some steering wheels, but they're all in the back of a semi truck. There's no glamour to it. There's no flashing lights and smoke and mirrors and everything like you saw in that Gran Turismo thing. They have a huge set. They have, everything in position. It's a very professional thing that they put together. It's night and day difference. There's no professional broadcast or esport, I think, when you see this video about NASCAR Heat.
a little confused too because NASCAR has been promoting iRacing, but they're also promoting the officially licensed NASCAR Heat. So are they going for different drivers? Like, you know, the older people that can buy their own setup and race, usually go on iRacing, and then maybe the younger crowd goes to NASCAR Heat.
That's exactly what they're doing. The console hits a wider demographic. The iRacing hits the bigger spending demographic.
Right. They're just going for everybody is the answer. All right, and then Greg, what was the other one?
So it looks like also the McLaren Shadow project. Congratulations to Marcus Jansen for being the 2018 iRacing champion of it. So I don't know, when did this get awarded? I can't see
It just came out this
week.
And there's like no information. There's like just what you read. There's one sentence, and that's it. And there's like a little splash video, and so I don't know much about it. But McLaren does have a thing up on their website, you know, at the McLaren Shadow Project, where you can get more information.
And I think that means he now becomes one of their sim testing project or like drivers. He gets to be part of their program there.
Right. Yeah, I think the guy before was Rudy. That was much more publicized, better. This time, yeah, I didn't see a lot on social media about it. All right, let's keep moving. Mason, you're next.
All right, we got an article from Kawanda SimSport saying the silly season for the NASCAR peak drivers. They've added Keegan Leahy and Bobby Zelensky to their team for peak auto racing.
Wow, those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah, I couldn't comprehend it when I read it the first time.
Well, now let's talk about Kawanda SimSport. They're a big team, but mostly in Formula One, right? They have Mitchell DeJong.
Yeah, that's what I was reading up on them. So it seems like they're doing the open wheel stuff.
Yeah, and rally and whatnot. But it's cool that, you know, they've signed a couple, you know, peak guys, and these are no slouches. We're talking top 10 drivers here.
Looks like they're related to VRS as well in a way.
Yeah. Because I know that they're all part of they have the VRS stuff too. That's why I guess Bobby and Keegan are on there then.
All right. Well, congrats to Keegan and Bobby. Phil Linden, you get the big topic of the week.
So the December build is coming up, and Tony Gardner made a post to update us all on the current status of all the projects they have going on in the background. The big thing is that this December, they're going to put out the day to night cycle, which we've been hearing about forever. We already talked about some of the videos they've been putting out. The only catch is that HDR won't be in this build. So it won't look as good as it could, but at least we'll have day to night in time for the Daytona 24-hour. A few of the other things, like the tire model version 7, it's still in alpha testing, so they didn't put it in this build. I'm hoping to see it. I mean,
are you kidding me? That means March for the tires, right?
Better than a broken tire model, you know, that we have to change all our setups anyway and stuff like that. So,
and it's only on a few cars.
Right. So in order to roll it out on more cars and have it be tested better, I guess they're pushing it another build. And the damage model as well. So they published some videos a while back now about the damage model in progress, but again, that's only on certain cars. They have to do every car, and it's not ready yet, which is another bummer. And AI is something that they haven't really talked about a lot. They say it's close, but still have a few, quote, distracting issues. I'm not sure what they mean by distracting, whether it's like race ruining or just immersion breaking. But again, it won't be in this build, so we'll have to keep waiting. But on the plus side, we do get a new free track. The Cuba is a track that they scanned a while ago, I believe. And the Charlotte Roval, the upcoming layout for the NASCAR series, will both be in the game for free. So I thought that was really interesting that they're releasing, both of these without having people pay for it. And then as far as cars go, a Formula 3 car is coming out. So that's another interesting choice, and I don't think a lot of people were expecting that.
Yeah, the Formula 3 is competing with the Pro Mazda and the Formula Renault.
See, the thing that's interesting here, do you think they give those two free tracks because of it seems like the day and night is the only thing they got?
Well, I think the Charlotte, because they already have Charlotte, so it's just updating the infield of Charlotte, so to speak. So it's kind of like a rescan. So that one makes sense why that's not a cost. I think Scuba, I think they're just doing that for, historically that's been a track that's always been available on any kind of racing game you've ever played.
As far as other tracks, the Chili Bowl, which iRacing sponsored a dirt midget for the last year's Chili Bowl when they rolled out the midget. That track, they say it'll be released before the actual race this January, but will not be in the early December build. So I don't know if that means they're going to release the track mid-build, but it's the first enclosed track on the service.
I still wonder what the blimp view is going to look like.
Yeah, and they said here that there might be another surprise car you might hear about soon. Nothing like dropping hints, and some new things we have not discussed yet, like a new crowd system at every track.
Ooh, yeah. I'm tired of the paper cutouts for the cardboard people.
See, now with all those announcements there, you guys, if you're putting it together, do you think that, okay, if the tire model is ready for March, do you think the AI and the audio might come with it in March, or do you think only one makes it to March and they still keep getting pushed, the other ones?
I think the damage model for sure will be in March, because it sounds like they're just. Oh wait, never mind. Reading here closer, damage model is the longest way to go out of everything they've mentioned. So maybe they're prioritizing the AI more.
It comes down to they probably have separate teams working on each thing, and so it's going to depend on the progress of each team.
I hope they learn their lesson with the way they announced the tire model when they first were saying it's going to come, and to now not announce when they think it's going to come out. Just get it close and then start doing it. Don't say it's going to come out and then like a year later.
Well, they did announce that they would do the night to day in January if that's what it came to. Do you think they would do the tire model the same way before February?
No.
No, the tire model's going to be a major build thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a lot of participation to lose in the NASCAR series between February and March.
I don't think they're worried about it. I mean, I haven't read anything that says they're concerned about that kind of thing. I mean, the problem with the tire model is back in February to March last year, the Dave Kamer came on the forums and basically said the word June, and that indicated it would be in the next build in June, and here we are now into December, and it's not going to be in there. We're looking at the March. And so it's like at least a 12-month cycle since he said the word June before we potentially could see the tires. And I guess what? I don't even think it'll come then.
That's the danger of putting out dates when you're not even, they're still working on it. So something they thought was easier, they get to it and it's really, really hard or stuff like that. So, question, does the tire model, is that for all cars and all series? We've got, asphalt oval, asphalt road, dirt oval, and dirt road. And all the different cars behave differently. Like Formula One car tires are not the same as NASCAR tires. And so on. So do they have to go through and make a different tire model for every class?
I think so. I think once they get that compound done, the basic part, then they have to go, tweak it for each car. And there is a mention in this discussion that they only had it on a few cars so far.
Right. So my hope is that, once they get the really core series, the ones with a lot of participation, like NASCAR, that they'll incrementally release it. Hopefully, they say they don't want to do that too soon, but hopefully they don't wait until, the series that nobody runs finished before releasing it to everybody.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's a lot in the December build. It sounds like they're working on a lot. There's a lot of stuff in progress. It's just not going to be done for this particular deadline.
But the day tonight will be awesome.
Yeah, and again, I'd rather have them push it off another build and make sure it's right than release it with a bunch of bugs.
See,
Right.
when you're looking at this, they're pretty close to having only a minimal build here. If that day-night missed, they weren't going to have much at all for the next build.
Well, he did indicate that the team is working day nights been doing weekends, and I did read that in the forums on a different spot where they are putting in a lot of extra hours trying to get that done. All right, we'll keep moving. Tony Groves, you're next. Bubba.
Yeah, well, Bubba Wallace is going to be back on the sim, and during the off season, he threw up on Twitter. What did he throw up on Twitter? He said he's getting the off season vibes. Got the iRacing rig set up to stream. Let's race. So apparently you can find Bubba Wallace 76 on Twitch. Look him up.
Yeah, I checked it out actually. He's got a camera showing his face in the corner, so you can see his face while he's racing. And he was running a truck race at Martinsville. Actually, he was running fifth when I was watching, and he was digging, trying to get up there and win that race. And you know, every couple laps he would yell out or something, or he would cackle, and he looked like he was having a good time.
Yeah, and I watched it earlier too, and he gets just as frustrated with all the cautions as you and I do. So,
All right, Tony Rochette, the Ferrari GT3 Challenge.
Oh, looks like the thoughts of replacing the Ferrari GT3 Challenge with the Honda Pro HPD. They're considering replacing the fixed GT3 Challenge series with the fixed Honda for season 1. What are your thoughts?
So this is that short race, right? 15 minutes.
Isn't
I
this?
wouldn't have had any thought. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. I was just going to say this. Isn't that series they're just trying to get exposure for different cars? That's why they kind of intended to do it. So to
Right.
get different things in, they tried the Ferrari this time. They try another one the next time.
Well, the Ferrari got booted out of the other GT3 series. So the Porsche came into the GT3 series, and then they had to kick a car out from the multi-class. So they gave the Ferrari GT3 its own, so people could still drive it. And
Right.
now,
But it's actually still in the GT3 series, the VRS series. It's not in the It's not in the IMSA series anymore. It got booted out of there when the Porsche GTE came out.
But they had a separate Ferrari one. But the Honda here, it's only the HPVD is only good for the IMSA, isn't it? Or not IMSA, for the Le Mans, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the only place it's used, and it's not getting very much participation. Everybody's always either in a GTE or in a Le Mans prototype.
Well, it seems silly to toss it in the series then. I mean, just to use a car that doesn't get used. I usually probably wouldn't have an opinion on this, but I have the GT3, and I was thinking of running some of these just to practice for road. And since they're so quick, fixed setup, I thought that'd be great. Which I guess that'll still work, since they're not going to be changing it until season 1. I can still get some time on that in that series.
Yeah, they basically did throw the series up originally, kind of throw a bone to the GT3 people who felt robbed of their car being taken out of IMSA.
Well, it's a fairly new car too, right?
It had
like a year
just
old
come
or
out at
something?
the same time the Ferrari GTE came out when the GTE class was created, and then it got cut when they added the Porsche.
So did we run this in the 24 last year? Because I could have sworn I bought that GT3 to spectate Daytona and was going to run it this year, and then found out I had a car that wouldn't race Daytona this next year.
It's
Was
possible.
this
It's
in-
possible.
yeah,
I
was
don't
in that
remember
race
what it was last
probably.
year.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
It
with
is
all this
possible.
road stuff.
It's possible because the Porsche had not been released at that time.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I don't know if they're going to change the car. They're kind of asking on Instagram, what are your thoughts? And it obviously started a discussion, and everybody's got an opinion, obviously.
What if they, here's just another thought. What if they put that with the Radical together? Just have like a series where they have two different, because that's a little bit faster than the Radical, isn't it?
Just throw them all together, yeah. Put in the HPD, the Ferrari GT3, and the Radical. One series. I don't know, 15 minutes short fix. That sounds like something up my alley. I haven't done it yet, but now that the NASCAR season is over, I'll be looking for something to do. All right, let's keep moving. I got a couple announcements here before we go to hardware software. Tifosi Racing is still looking for a social media manager and a league manager. If you have those kind of heavy skills, find me or Greg, and we'll hook you up. Our friends over at KMA Racing are still having their event that's coming up December 1st. So make sure to go to Facebook and help the GoFundMe by participating in this event to help Scott, who had a quadruple bypass surgery. And so he's needing financial assistance. All right, let's get into hardware software. Bobby Jonas, you're up first. Track Racer.
Oh.
All right, I lost Bobby.
I'll take it.
Okay, Greg.
So we looked back at this video probably a couple months ago, where they were just announcing it, they were testing it, and with this seat, and man, is this thing's got so many options, and it's a nice setup here. So it's the the RS6 from Track Racer. We're looking at the Facebook page for them, but it looks like they finally got a price for it now too, and it's pretty reasonably priced for the market right now.
Well, $649, but it's Australia.
Oh, is it? I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's even got it's also it's already got the holes drilled out for even the direct drive wheels now too, that are all being released. So it comes with a 5-year warranty. It looks like a really comfortable seat, and it's fully adjustable in all the different angles. So, what do you guys think of this seat?
Well, let me tell you about that seat. It says it's a fiberglass seat, engineered for both strength and comfort, with sizing to suit most drivers, specifically in the medium to extra large size range, which they list as 30 to 34 inch waist. Not I.
Huh. Well, it's interesting. It's TRAK, no C, racer.com if you guys want to check that out. It is Australia, I believe, and but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good price based on what you're getting there.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I like it. Even the seat is fire retardant fabric in case you intend on setting it on fire.
It's a stationary cockpit. It's got all the things to mount your wheel and your pedals and whatnot. So it's a tubular kind of look to it, much like the Obuto. It kind of looks like an Obuto as far as the tubular part of it, or the tubes.
It's basically it's probably the top of the line non-motion rig type seat because of all the accessories that you can add with it.
Yeah. And the seat they have, it looks like a racing seat. It kind of wraps around your head a little bit and your shoulders. So yeah, if you're in Australia, guys, check it out for sure. Trackracer.com. All right, Brent McCoy.
All right, Forbes went and did an article, I believe it was back on the 15th of this month. They did an article on the new RTX 2080 Ti Nvidia and the problems that have been reported with this. Turns out there's a pretty big issue with it, and Nvidia finally went and confirmed that issue. They said that there's a issue with the heat coming on, or that's being distributed throughout the card itself, and this issue escaped their initial testing that they did in-house, and it only became apparent after several people have complained, and even one of them started on fire. The cards did. There was some benchmark testing that they did here, and they said, where was it? The average temp after only 2 hours of testing the card in an open air bench test Generally, it's around 60 degrees. They said this testing was at 138 degrees Fahrenheit. So clearly, this is a serious issue. Nvidia said that they're anyone who's got an issue with this to contact their support team through online, punch a ticket with them, and it says, quote, they will get you taken care of. So, not sure what that means. Hopefully, it's replacing these cards with these new ones that they're all these testings that they're doing with these new cards or what. But if you have a new 2080 Ti, I would highly suggest checking out this Forbes.com site that was done by Jason on here for some information.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's saying that that it might be the Micron GDDR6 memory that is swapping it out for Samsung has been helping, from what I read.
Yeah, so I actually read into this a bit. I thought this was going to end up being my topic, and Nvidia hasn't come up and said anything for sure, but just from what they've seen on the forums of people that have had bad cards, they think they might know what's caused it. So when you buy these cards, they don't necessarily have all the same parts in them, just like any electronic you get. And so I guess they're from what people are saying, there might have been a bad batch of memory, DDR6 memory that came from Micron, because the cards they're receiving back have memory that's from Samsung. So other people that had those that Micron batch might have problems.
Yeah,
All right,
Nvidia's still staying pretty quiet on this. They're not saying how many are affected, how many of the cards or whatnot. I guess it's kind of hard to get an exact number, but there's a picture on here of one of these cards, and you can tell where the entire area of the laptop where this card was is just melted and burnt. Pretty serious issue.
Yeah, that's the crappy thing. You're right. They haven't really said anything. They just kind of said, yeah, there's a problem, and if you have a problem, let us know. But if what users are speculating is true, and it is the that Micron memory that's causing the problem, they know exactly which cards have the problem. And so if they were more forward about it, if that is the issue, they could issue a recall.
Time for a recall. Well, I was going to say, you heard it here first, guys. I think it was 4 weeks ago we told you, do not buy this card. And this further explains why we told you that, because Forbes.com is a pretty mainstream. They did have a quote directly from them that said there is a problem, but not much more than that, as everyone said. So, yeah, if you don't buy this card, guys, yet, we'll let this thing sort out. Let's find out if there's going to be a recall. The people that buy this card early and are stuck with them, I mean, I'd be pretty pissed myself.
Is that kind of the price you pay, though, as a consumer, for jumping on something initially during the first release?
There's always a risk of that, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing that comes to mind is the direct drive wheels that are coming out and stuff. Do you need to be careful buying the first edition of those,
It's the same of any project or anything electronic,
Everything
though, right?
electronic, yep.
Even like a car or something. Like if you buy a car, you buy the first year of a car, the amount of recalls and stuff it can have.
Red Rings of Death on Xboxes. That was enormous.
When we talked about this initially weeks ago, the speculation on the forums was it was a bad design that was leading to overheating of the memory.
Typically, too, Nvidia, they release the the 980 card first, then 6 or 8 months later they release a 1080 or the Ti cards.
Yeah, they didn't do that this time, huh?
No, they released them the same time.
Right. And I don't think it's specific to Ti either. It's 2080 Ti and 2080s that are having the problem. It's both.
I wonder if they just didn't test it enough.
Well, that's kind of what this article reads as. How do you miss it in testing? I mean, I can't think of a better way to test it than to hand it out to a dozen iRacers and let them burn it up.
There's plenty of other things that burn more than iRacing would GPU-wise.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of silly that they missed this in testing, to tell you the truth.
But as we were talking about the December build stuff, we want them for that stuff to be right, so we want this stuff to be right too.
Yep. All right, Chris Scales, you're next.
Yeah, and Brent, maybe you can help me out with a little bit with this one because I think you poked around with the software a bit. But it looks like we have some new software out, and I'm hearing early it's pretty cool. Eye pitting.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry, eye pity board is the full title.
Yeah, so iPitty Board is it's a new software. I did some digging in and created an account with these guys initially. It's a free account. What it is it's basically for team it's basically for keeping track of your team. So if you're in the IMSA series or you're doing a 24 event or any kind of, Class C fixed, if you're running a team or you want to keep track of certain number of drivers and see how they're doing, progressing throughout that season, you can go ahead and do that. All you got to do is create an account and then go through these guys and punch in your numbers or your members that you want. So like for us, I've got David Hall in here. I've got myself, Mason Stiver's also in here. And I'm looking at a list, and it's just going through, Watkins Glen, Suzuka, Road Atlanta, and it's telling you, keeping track of their points, how they're doing, how many IR loss incidents per lap. Basically breaks it down all into a form, or you can do charts, or you can do different types of graphs. And if you're a team manager, this is probably something you'd be very well interested in, as you got something right in front of you on your screen where you can tell how each one of your drivers are doing.
I was going to ask, I know you hadn't had a bunch of time to poke around at it, but does it only work for official races, or like could Steve get this for the league and be able to keep track of the league member stats? Do you know?
Yeah, no, from what I looked, I think it's just official races so far. And there's actually a couple series, official series that aren't on there. So I think it was the NIS series where I'm hoping they get it on there. Maybe it's just because it just ended why it's no longer on there. But NIS isn't on there yet. And I believe the C Open, if you run the C Open, that's not on there either. Now C Fixed is, B Open, B Fixed, and then the A Open and A Fixed are. But that might be something to bring up with them as far as the NIS season, open and fixed, because I know that's, as a team for Tifosi Racing, that's probably something that we would look at quite a bit from a manager side of stuff, and just to compare everyone's stats and to see where they are. So instead of going through and looking at everyone's iRating, you could just pull this up and you would have that all listed there.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a fabulous idea. I wish they would add the NIS to it. I think it would, like you said, do wonders for us to kind of just give us a better, easier way to look up stats. Like we were trying to pull up your end of year stats, and it's like a nightmare to try to figure out stats. What was I last year and all this other stuff, and it's a nightmare. But if you had this service like this going, this is really neat, and it looked really nice. It's eyepitting.com is how you find it. And yeah, I hope they add the NIS.
Extremely easy to use and extremely easy to add drivers. You can either add other drivers too, peak or pro drivers if you wanted. So something to check out if you're a team manager.
Yeah, and if those guys are listening, add the NIS, and I will absolutely use it. There's also a feature I saw in the video that will present a social media graphic, so to speak. With you can take a picture of your car, and it'll overlay like the team logo and the finish in that race and that kind of thing. And it makes it real easy to actually post to social media the results that you're seeing on this website. Pretty cool. All right, David Hall, you're next.
Okay, any of our Valve fans out there, particularly if you ever grew up playing Half-Life, they have leaked images of a new VR headset being actually produced by Valve. These images came from around July, so they think it may be fairly far in development. It has an on-ear design similar to the Rift, but it also, interestingly, has two front-facing cameras, and it may even have a feature where it can actually track your hands instead of having to use something like an Oculus Touch. And one of the neatest features on it is that it seems to have about a 25-degree wider field of vision than the current standard. And they could possibly also be putting out a Half-Life VR game as a part of the package. So it's really nice to have the new competition coming in, and Half-Life was fun, so I would almost try it or try to port it over to my Oculus Rift if it came out.
So can this work on iRacing, this kind of VR goggle?
Well, I mean, this is just some images that have been leaked. Valve themselves has not come out and said anything about producing it. The only thing additional that somebody looked up patents recently done by Valve, and they've recently registered a trademark of Valve Index. But this is all still very speculative. They've just leaked some images, and people are trying to put together what they think might be the case based on the pictures.
Right. Well, competition's good, guys. It'll drive down price, that's for sure. And then 110-degree FOV, that is a big increase. So, well, if you're going to go up by 25,
yeah, the current standard is 110, and it's 135. I don't ever really feel limited by the field of vision. I know that you can see wider on triples, but when I'm playing, I don't really even hardly turn my head, especially when I'm in an oval car. The road courses, I tend to look down the apex. But in the oval, I pretty much don't even move my head, and that's not too far from real life. Because when you have that Hans device on, you can't turn your head.
Right. Good point. All right. Let's keep moving. Mason Stiver, you're next.
Yeah, it looks like we have a rig tour by Empty Box, a YouTube video. He did one before. This was rig tour 2. Says everything is all the same, except he got a new Pro Cockpit.
With Wix, you can create
called the Spinard Simulations Pro Cockpit. It's 850 Canadian dollars. It's got. He said his difference when talking about cockpit versus where he was on the desk before is the difference in ergonomics. So the desk is fixed; you can't really customize the height or anything. But the cockpit is so customizable with your pedal angles, your steering wheel angle, how far down you sit, that kind of stuff. The cockpit looks really sweet. I would definitely be interested in this.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. It's spinardsimulation.com, and you spell that SPENARD simulation.com, and it's a stationary cockpit, much like we were talking about earlier, but it's just a different design. It is stationary. It's got a place to mount everything, though. And as Empty Box talked about in his video, it really is the thing that ties all this stuff together. He buys all this high-end hardware, and it just doesn't, it's just not right sitting on a desk. Cough, cough, Brent McCoy. And so,
come on, man.
But Empty Box is saying, hey, Brent, you need to have a cockpit to tie all these things together. It puts them all together. It's a much better experience with the cockpit. That's basically what he says in the video.
I'm more willing to do it if he wants to fork out the cash to buy one.
That and I'm in a one-bedroom apartment. I'm not squeezing the cockpit in here.
Is it really going to have a bigger footprint than what you have already?
I'll tell you, no, probably not. Not with the amount of crap I got.
Right.
My setup's pretty compact because I don't have triples. I just use the VR.
Right, and so you could have a pretty narrow spot, stick it in a corner kind of thing. But anyway, Empty Box is very popular on YouTube. This video was only released a few days ago, and it already has over 6,000 views. And surely not all those people are iRacers. Okay, so that means we're getting exposure to other people that are not involved in iRacing, learning about all this equipment, this sim equipment. And when you look at it, and he's got it all spread out everywhere, it's very intriguing to see what he's got set up.
It looks like they do have a Motion Ultimate Cockpit D-Box on there, and it is on sale for 8,549 Canadian dollars.
Ooh.
This
is a Canadian company. Well, Tony, that means no, tax.
Oh, there's still tax. There's still tax.
Shipping.
Oh no, we won't get the tariffs, but the shipping and the tax are still there in full force.
Okay.
Seems like a good enough reason to buy it to me.
Well, yeah, if you can buy from a company within the country you're in, it's got to be cheaper.
Oh yeah, 100%. You will save a little bit for sure.
So hashtag Canada first.
All right, there you go.
There was also an interesting thing he said about VR. I didn't really think about this, but he uses VR and he has a rug under where he's at, so he knows where he's at in the room. versus this regular carpet or wood floor.
Oh,
whatever,
like
yeah.
when he's playing a game where he's walking around?
Yeah.
Right, so he has a little rug so he can
Yeah.
feel where he's at in the room. He stands on the little rug, right?
Yeah. He said you could get out of the car and like look at the sides of it, that kind of stuff.
I pretty much stay seated in with my VR, so I don't really need that.
All right, who's next? I lost track. Phil Linden.
Yeah, so the next thing we have on here is Simplicity Racing, Sim-Plicity, are a team from London who make direct drive wheels. I'm looking at their website now, and they have a pretty wide range of direct drive wheels from 7 Newton meters all the way up to the 12 Newton meters direct drive wheels. And a lot of them seem sold out. So I don't know how these wheels compare to the usual,
Never heard of
brand
the
names that we
company.
see, like Fanatic and some of the other companies. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Custom is what I'm thinking when I see this stuff.
Yeah, they do have some compact series with a lightweight motor, it says. But it's kind of designed for the 80/20 rig, it seems like.
How do the prices compare? I see a range between $480 to $680 US. Is that typical for direct drive wheel?
That's low. I mean, but that's just the motor, it looks like. It's not everything else you need, right?
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Software, mount, wheel.
I was gonna say, yeah, I wonder what software they're gonna be running since it's their own personal thing here. They're showing some of it here, but what is it actually? What software is it?
It doesn't say. They actually show pictures of it too. But the website is sim-pli.city. There's no .com. It's just Simplicity with a dash and a dot in there.
They're
So
based
check
in
it out.
London, England there.
Yep. All right, Tony Groves, you're next.
Yeah, up next we got a new Ricmotech Mazda MX-5 Cup steering wheel. This pretty sweet, pretty sweet looking wheel. I don't know if you can get a whole lot closer to the real thing than this.
I think it is the real thing. It's just made to be used as a sim wheel too.
Yeah, it looks like they've done a nice job on that there. The wheel features a sweet suede wrap, oval molded grip, and something to a proprietary aluminum magnetic paddle shifters. The shifters have adjustable horizontal positioning as well, adjustable travel distance. They've got the shifters, like, I guess, just working just bang nuts on. Buttons, switches, and knobs on the wheel have a total of 18 functions that are mappable. And the embedded controller was created to be ultra responsive for all the button functions and paddle shifts. The encoders have a unique dual control function, which contributes to high functionality and a smaller footprint. Yeah, basically, this thing is just kicking ass. That's the way I see it, anyways. It's a pretty simple looking wheel, but you get just the crazy functionality, and it's kind of sound like it's a beast.
I mean, it says Mazda MX-5, which is a road car, but to me it looks like an oval wheel. I mean, it looks like an oval wheel for an oval driver.
Yeah, it looks just like the wheel you got in the car there.
Well, not every road car has to have the Formula One style wheelbase.
Right.
The Porsche
Yeah, this
rim
is
that I'm
round.
probably going to be purchasing is round, and so is the BMW wheel.
This would be a good wheel for someone like myself. I like the round wheel because 90% of what I do is NASCAR stuff. But when I do want to take a trip down the road, I want to be able to have some nice paddle shifters and all that stuff. And it's got just enough amount of buttons to be useful for for me. I wouldn't want to get rid of all my buttons on the wheel, but this seems to have just enough.
Yeah, this is a Max Pappas wheel. And the challenge when you buy Max Pappas wheels everywhere else is they don't have the shifters, they don't have the buttons, it's just the wheel. And you have to figure that shit out on yourself. And so this is put together by Ricmotech. So ricmotech.com is the one offering this wheel. They have several Max Pappas wheels available. This is just the wheel. It's not a base, guys. $689.
That's pretty. Go ahead, Joe.
I got my, the one that I had won in the charity race. I got a Fanatec 2.5 wheelbase, and I'm trying to find a spacer now to where I can hook it on the universal hub. So it's, it comes with 3 holes in the wheel, as far as the steering wheel itself, but, mine is a 5. I'm trying to find a spacer now.
You should check Ricmotech, Joe. They sell a lot of Max Pappas stuff, and I bet you they probably have something that would work for you. But yeah, it's a beautiful wheel. I mean, like you said, the buttons with the knobs, and you can have a total of 18 functions. Wow, that's more than enough. And this is very intriguing wheel. I mean, the price is pretty high, but wow, pretty cool. All right, Tony Rochette, you're next.
All right, Richard Hassels posted in the forums on about a week ago about Oculus versus the Samsung Odyssey. He had an Odyssey for a few weeks here to test. He says it's an awesome device, much better resolution than the Vive or the Rift. Hardly any screen door effect. He can read all the small text on the menus, and the tracking is very good. He can actually get out of the car, kneel down, and inspect the brake disc, or he can actually walk on the track.
What? Okay, now I didn't know this because I've never tried VR, but you're saying you can get out of the track and walk around your car and inspect the car? That's crazy. I had no idea.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, like I said, I think it probably has to do with the tracking. But I was watching, Will Gibson. He raced with VR, and I was spectating one of his sprint car races. And when he would lean to the left when he was going through a corner, his head was almost out of the car. It was really cool.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, this would have been handy on Monday when my damn tire wouldn't get out from my hood and my pit crew didn't want to work anymore. I could have got out there, grabbed the damn tire, put it on myself, and back in the game.
Give me a hammer.
I was gonna say, is that gonna be the new feature when you're gonna do your own pit stops?
Or if you're working on your
you could
setup.
actually have a crew. You could actually have a crew using Oculus Touches and their Oculus Rift that have to do the pits changes.
Oh, wow. I was thinking during a setup, and you want to get out of the car and look at the ride height. So you squat down and see if the car is touching the ground.
I don't think anybody wants me on their pit crew.
Okay, Brent McCoy, you're next. And this is the Black Friday stuff, so we're going to bounce through all these because we've talked about them all before.
Greg, did you want this?
I put my name beside it, but
Yeah, go ahead, take it. It's all yours.
so Black Friday sales showed up for Fanatec here, and there's been some not so good feedback from what they've offered, and people were thinking there was going to be some direct drives and stuff, but it looks like they're really only pushing their CSL Elite Series stuff, plus with their 5 deals here, they got a new rim, their new Formula rim, so that would be offer 1 was just 25% off of the CSL Elite base for the official PS4, just have it get in the base. Offer 2 was the CSL Elite F1 set official license for PS4. Sorry, that first one was yeah. So that one's for the offer 2 is for $599. Is that euros? Oh, I can't. $599 American. Then their third offer was their new Club Sport steering wheel Formula One eSports rim, which is going to be $249. Their third or fourth offer is the complete Fanatic bundle. Their most popular is what they're calling it, for $1,000. You get your CSL Elite wheelbase with the official license for the PS4, CSL Elite McLaren GT3 rim with the quick release, Club Sport steering wheel universal hub for the Xbox One, Club Sport steering wheel GT rim, and CSL Elite load cell pedals. That's, like it says, $1,000. And then their fifth deal is the Club Sports Formula One licensed steering wheel loaded with innovative features with podium upgrade options, strictly limited edition. There is no actual. I don't know if that image is supposed to actually be the image from the one up at top, or they still have a different rim that's going to be announced here soon.
Meh. Not impressed. All right.
It's really not a good, it's their base stuff. I have that package number 4 is basically what I have with different pedals and stuff, and it's a base setup.
Yeah, we talked about the AccuForce deal. AccuForce Pro 2 is down to under $1,000 with the wheel. I'm just craving that one. I just don't have the money for it. We also talked about the Odyssey already. That was $300 on Black Friday at Samsung.com. Main Performance PC has Obutto stuff for sale. Their cockpits are already gone. And then obviously iRacing subscriptions you can renew still. 50% off new members, 30% off current members. So get it while it's hot, guys. All right, let's keep going. We're going to get into results, finish up the NIS Series next. Homestead, Thursday fixed. I ran P32, wrecked out. I don't even remember what happened. So Mason, we'll move on to you. P4.
Yeah, I kept tagging the wall on the race, trying to run the high side. Fought back through the field, and there's a late race restart. I think I started maybe 6th or 7th, and the 4th place guy took out all the front runners, but I had too much damage to fight for the lead, so I finished P4.
All right, nice top 5. And then Friday Open, Greg, you P3.
Yeah, and that was we had a long, I think it was 151 laps was to finish the race on after a bunch of cautions at the beginning. And I want to thank Joe for, he was working, but he was still in TeamSpeak, I guess, from his phone from work, and we were talking back and forth with setup changes, or not setup changes, but changes in the race to make it better. And I guess Joe was watching my stream, so he was asking me questions on what it was. It felt like I was, interacting with my crew chief, and actually getting somewhere. We got to the car performing really good after the last 2 pit stops, and I think I marched from 6th to 3rd, and I was running the first and second place guy down. I just didn't have enough time and was hoping that they would run out of fuel, but it was a good race, and I just thank Joe for helping me out in that race, because without him, I don't know if I would have gotten the right changes there.
All right, well, that's cool. Tony Rochette, also P3. You break some bad luck streak.
Yeah, I bought some, upgraded my pedals to the Fanatec V3, and I started them Friday. A big, huge difference in performance with the pedals. I probably saved myself from getting in the wrecks probably about 6 or 7 times. I was actually, the final restarted second, and I was going past the leader, and I just pushed a little too much into the wall.
Wow, and do you think the pedals really made the difference between the way you were running before you got the pedals and the way you're running now?
Oh yeah, just the brake alone, I can go 3/4 the way down, and I'm not even locking them up, and they feel really great.
Nice. Well, that's a good upgrade then. Chris, P14.
Yep, started out pretty good. I was just playing the caution game, or to play it at cautious since it's such a long race, and Got halfway through it and was just racing next to a lap car, and he lost it under me, overcorrected, came back into me. That was the end of that.
Yeah, you're always at the mercy when you're on the outside there.
You warned me.
All right, Mason, you got a P19 there.
Yeah, I think I was in the race with Greg. Early restart. We just can't seem to restart at Homestead without wrecking. And I've got in the back after that, 3 laps down. Fixed 4 minutes of damage, kept racing. It was a long day.
Long day. Yeah, when you're down laps, yeah, you're just, especially on these full distance race. Ugh. I did that on Sunday night. I just was riding around, just trying to finish. This is kind of tedious.
Can I say something here with that too? Having that full race, it's been a while since I've gotten in a race where, you get that long green flag run where you're actually making, to feel what your car changes actually feel like on a long green flag run. It was a nice, it's refreshing to get that, to actually be able to race in it and know that, you're gaining something, because sometimes these, every caution every 10 laps, you have no idea what your setup's doing at all.
Right. And then David Hall, you got a P10 that night.
Yeah, Brent, was this the one where you crew chief for me? I can't remember.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, I didn't take notes on this one, so P10, I guess that's a decent result.
Yeah, all right. Sunday Open. Chris, you got P16. You put dirty race.
Yeah, that was rough. It was just a whole lot of cautions, and I got caught up in a couple of them and had a little bit of damage to the car, but I got towards the front of the field, was running low, and I didn't get on the apron, but on the low line of the track, and it just came around. I don't know if it was the parachute I had on the back or just my driving, but man, it just spun out, and that was it.
All right. Tony Gross, P8.
Yeah. Pretty good race. I was running top 5 for most of it.
Great.
Yeah, I was really pleased with how the car was handling and how I was driving. I couldn't have been happier until one of the last pit stops. Green flag pit stop, come in, way too hot, locked it up, stuck my nose into the pit wall. But thankfully, I still had enough time to recover, and I was able to get a P8 out of it. So I get, especially with the luck that I've been having over the last little while, no complaints. I was happy.
Well, don't feel bad about hitting the pit road, getting on the pit road under green flag. I think, Brent, you did that last week, and I did it the week before.
Yep. Did it under caution. Yeah.
All right, and Tony Rochette, P12 with a blown engine.
Yeah, I was running about 5th. I can't remember if I hit something or somebody hit me, but I got a little bit of engine damage. Did a green flag pit stop and coming out of the pits, and then it just blew up on me, and about 11 laps to go.
All right, and then Bobby got a P7. He ran top 5 all race, till a late yellow, and a lapper slowed down on my way into pit road. Black flag. Was recovering until that same lap car made contact with me, so he wasn't happy. I think, if I remember right, Bobby was thinking about hunting this guy down, and I think we talked him away from that, but he was pretty fired up.
We were in that race together. That car was an absolute pain. He was just in everybody's way.
He was 64 laps down when he got into me with 40 laps to go, and he's like, I'm going to make all my laps up. And I was like, dude, it's not going to happen.
Oh, my God. And he gave you a black flag. All right, and then, David, you had a DNF wrecked out late.
Yeah, somebody got loose up as I was passing underneath him, spun out, came down the track, took me out. And I think I forgot to pull some of the tape off after taking all the damage and ran a few more laps, and poof.
All right, and then final event of the NIS season, Sunday fixed. I wrecked out early, was taken 3 wide. I was in the middle, and I got touched just a bit, and I got totally taken out, completely destroyed. As I stated earlier, I rode around all night, just several laps down, and it made for a long night. But anyway, David Hall, you got a P7 that night.
Yeah, the car was even damaged. I got caught up in something early. I'm a magnet for it. But I didn't take any horsepower damage, and this race had a whole lot of attrition in it. So when it all worked itself out, I was up in the top 10.
All right, and then Brett, P19.
Yeah, it was a rough P19. It was P36, dead last at one point after getting ran into from behind by a guy that couldn't see. And then made my way back up to 19th. So could have been worse, right?
Yep. All right, now this next section, we're going to talk about our season results a little bit. I think we do these in one person at a time, and we'll go through each section. You name off your stat. And so I'll start off. First question is, where did you start your iRating and where did you end it? I started at 3,200. I ended at 2,793. I pretty much in between those two numbers the whole year. 2,793, that's probably about as low as I've gone, and it was a bad homestead week for me. As far as the next stat, it's NIS fixed, division, and finish. I finished 25th in Division 2. I was 100th overall, if you look at the overall fixed results. I did go back to last year. I was 23rd last year, so 25th this year, but 90th overall and 100th overall this year. So very similar results to last year. If I jump to Open, I finished 24th in Division 2. I was 23rd last year. I finished 49th overall in Open. Wow, 49th. I really like that. I was 87th overall last year. So that's a great result for me, 49th overall. I'll take it. I didn't think I was going to do that well. The next one is league results. I didn't do any, really. And then 2019, what am I going to run? NIS, obviously. I don't really have any other plans, but we'll see how it goes. And 24 hours, I will be running the fastest car, whatever class that is. I don't like to be in a slower car. And what hardware am I considering purchasing? Well, everybody knows I want to get a new wheel, so hopefully I'll get that in early spring. Okay, Bobby, tell us about your year.
Let's see. I finished 21st. I missed quite a bit of races in NIS this season, unfortunately. So it wasn't too bad. I had one win with 3 poles, 5 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. So I consider that a pretty good year. I didn't track my iRating because I run some smaller series here and there, so it gets bounced around quite a bit. That was the only series I really ran for points this year, was the Open NIS series. Next year, I'm looking forward to running a little bit more, some smaller series for 12 weeks, but I'm also going to run NIS, and I would like to do some road racing next year, hopefully a little bit more regularly. And as far as a 224 hours, of course, it's my home track, and I'll be running a prototype. For next year, I'll probably start looking at the direct drive wheel, but I need to fix some stuff on my 80/20 chassis before I go into that.
All right, sounds good. Brent, tell us what you got.
All right. Started the year iRating right around, where's that? Right about 2250 is where I started. Had a good charge. I was pretty low at one point. I was around the 1600s probably about a month ago. Got back up to about 2500. I was just all doing A fixed and A open races. So for my stats so far this year, Division 4 for the fixed, ended up finishing P24 with only 36 starts. So I averaged about 1 a week. One win out of those, I can't remember what track. I think it was Auto Club or somewhere around there where I got that. 6 top 5s and an average finish of 17th. For the Open, I did Division 4 also. Finished P14, 28 starts, so a little less. I really didn't start focusing on Open until about halfway through the year. Got 4 wins in Open, 8 top 5s, and an average finish of
4
15.
wins, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those came. I had 2 at Martinsville this past fall. I had 1 at Phoenix, and then 1 earlier in the year, I think, was at Fontana, if I'm not mistaken. So didn't do any leagues this year. Next year, I'm looking to do NIS Open, focus more on that, focus on how to build setups. Also doing the Podium eSports Street Stock Series, which I'm already signed up for. We had those guys on the podcast here probably about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. They were out here with us. And then I'm also doing the Majors Series, which runs a variety of tracks from open wheel to the NIS stuff. So looking forward to that.
All right.
For the 24, if I can talk my guys into doing the Ford GT, I'll do the Ford GT. If not, I'm doing the Ferrari. Right, Mason?
That's right.
I'm with you.
All right.
There it is.
Yeah, we're starting to play in the 24 guys. We're getting a who wants to run what car together, and good job getting that together. It's like herding cats. All right, Chris, you're next.
Oh, yes, my rookie year on iRacing, I think I raced almost 100% oval, mostly NIS. Started the year with around a 1300 iRating and ended around 1700. Not quite the 2000 I was shooting for, but had a decent first year as far as NIS goes. And fixed, I ended up 13th in Division 7, but I hadn't really raced fixed in the last couple of months. I dropped a bunch there. But in Open, I finished third in Division 7 and had the most starts on the sim in an NIS Open. So just, persistence is there, just not the results. But I did have a couple of wins, so yeah, not bad for a rookie year.
Like it. Very good. Well, I think you did good, and I mean, you got to consider the experience too. I mean, you're learning racecraft and all that.
Oh yeah, it's a lot for sure.
Okay, David Hall, you're next.
Okay, road rating or oval rating, I started around at the beginning of the year, about 22,000 I rating, and I'm settled
2200.
at the moment. I'm at 2,500 now. So I've jumped about 500 in I rating. And on road license, I started the year, since I'm kind of the road guy, I started the year at around 1,100 and I'm up to 1,900 now. So I've had definitely increased on the I rating. I finished 15th in Division 3 and NIS fixed, and I only had 9 starts in NIS open, so I was somewhere in the 90s. A couple of interesting yearly stats. I do run a lot of IMSA races and like A fixed races, and I had 5 wins in the ovals this year and 17 wins in the IMSA series this year.
All right, wow, that's a lot of wins. Good job.
New hardware. I'm pretty much been talked into going ahead and getting a direct drive with a Porsche rim from Fanatec. I already have their pedals. I did buy a little rig where I'm going to be able to keep my G27 shifter, so I basically get a free button box out of that. And for the 24, I tried out the C7 a little bit today, and me and Joe were jabbing at each other about setups a little bit. It was entertaining, but the Ferrari is just the car that I love to drive. It just fits my driving style.
All right, very good. Greg.
This is my first year in NIS after taking a hiatus. Being here in 9 years, but took 2 years off. It was my first year competing in NIS. So I started my rating at 1150. I'm now at 2741.
Wow, big.
And so in the Open Series, I finished. Actually, first fixed, I finished. I only ran 21 weeks in the fixed. Finished 11th in the points in Division 5, 441st overall. Now Open I finished in Division 5. I finished second, 81st overall. I had 1 win, 18 top 5s. It's a pretty good year that way. I really enjoyed the NIS this year. It was only being able to run 1 or 2 a week. I probably could have gotten some better results, but I'll take it, especially with the increase in the I rating. I don't have any plans on leagues or anything right now. I guess 24 Hours of Daytona we're talking about still. And I get in the next little bit here, I'm looking to purchase some Derek Spears design button box for my rig, or maybe a graphics card, or maybe another rim. I'm not sure. But it's been a good year. I'll take the experience in the NIS and go on to next year.
All right, well done on the I rating, by the way. That's a huge, huge jump. A lot more than everyone else has mentioned, so good job. Joe Owen.
Hey man, NIS for me this year really hasn't gone my way. I've didn't race as many of them as I like to, just because of work scheduling. With my I rating, for some reason, I just can't break that 3,200 I rating. I'm at a 3,198, and just can't seem to break it. Every race I've been in, besides a couple of them, I've actually been wrecked by other competitors, and it's just been a frustrating year for me this year. It's just, last year was to me anyway, was a banner year, my first year in running the NIS Open, and I had some scheduling problems and missed like 6 of the races, and I fell to 88th in the points, and at the end of the year, I climbed my way back up to 12th, and that was in Division 3. So this year I was in Division 2. I think I finished somewhere around 58th, 59th in points for the year. But it really wasn't a good year for me this year in the NIS. It wasn't very playful.
Right.
The hardware stuff, I don't know if any of y'all do or not. Y'all really need to get a hold of a butt kicker. If you can get 5 of them, one on each corner of your rig and one under your seat, it's amazing. I mean, I have just one right now on my seat, and it helps me feel the bumps, and you can feel the tires chatter. I mean, feel the engine. You can feel a whole lot of stuff. It gives you that little bit of seat of the pants feel without all the motion. But I mean, it's really cool. So my plans for the 2019 year is take our team and going to try to give them hell and try to race the whole season again next year. And I plan on doing a whole lot of upgrades in 2019. I'm going to rebuild everything. I just rebuilt my computer, built a total brand new computer rig. So now I'm looking to go and get the DD2 and get a new chassis and new racing seat and just rebuild everything.
Man, that's quite an upgrade. All right, well, that sounds good. Good year to you, Joe. Mason Stiver, what do you got?
Yeah, so I started iRacing in August of 2017, and so I didn't really do much NIS running, but when the beginning of NIS season would have started, I was at a 1300 iRating oval, and now I'm at a 2799.
Wow.
And that's come down recently, so I was a little bit higher a couple weeks ago. So I'm pretty proud of that first year on iRacing. So like I said, I didn't do much NIS, but I ran 3 starts in the fixed, Division 4, P153 in the standings. NIS Open, I did 10 starts, and Division 4 again, P41 in those standings. Then league results, I've been running the Online Sim Racing Association Dash Series, which is super speedway trucks, and I actually won their championship by 3 points. So I move up into their Elite Series, which is the B car, the Xfinity car, on Friday nights. So I'm excited about that. That starts in December. As far as leagues that I'm running in 2019, looking at doing the NIS Open and Fixed, Road to Pro, and maybe some Trucks Open, A Open to get those setups dialed in for those races. And looking at continuing running the Elite Series with the Super Speedways. The 2019 24 Hours of Daytona, yes, I would love to run it, and I would like to run the Ferrari probably, not the Ford like Brent, because he'll just copy and paste the paint scheme. And hardware that I'm considering purchasing, looking for a cockpit and a triple monitor stand. So trying to decide between 8020 rig or maybe like the GT Omega. I just bought the Fanatec Club Sport V2.5, the P1 wheel, and a new computer, so I'm pretty set on that.
Wow.
Start looking for a new team, too.
So do inside jokes translate across the podcast?
No, they don't.
And don't forget to look at our seat as well. I would be looking at those. Cool. But 80/20 would be my first choice if I were doing it.
Yes.
And Road to Pro, you mentioned that. Everyone should run Road to Pro. And, I think that runs on Tuesday nights every other week or something. But, yeah, if your schedule's available, that's a great one to run.
You're running that Ferrari, you have to fit in real good with Junior there.
All right, Phil Linden, what do you got? All right, Lossville. Tony Groves.
Yeah, so my iRating gains this year haven't been all that good, but it was still a gain, so I'll take it. I started the year out right around the 1200 mark, and right now I'm sitting just over 1500. I did a little bit of fixed. I think I only made about 11 starts in the fixed series, so there's not much really there to talk about. And the open, I had 19 weeks counted with 28 starts. I ended up finishing 11th in Division 7. And about the best thing to come out of that is I got my first pole this year. That was kind of cool.
Right.
Still searching for that win, but I think next year is going to be my year. 2019, I'm going to be fixing on. Yeah, let's hope so. NIS Open. I'm going to try and make every start.
And you got all the tracks now.
I do have all the tracks now, so that's a huge bonus. I'll definitely be continuing to run with the Old Bastards Racing League. I'm going to probably stick with that ARCA just because it's a Monday night and that works really well with my schedule. I might get into some dirt stuff, but that'll just mostly be, playing around. 24 hours. Yes, I'll be running this year. Tifosi B team represent. And I think we've settled on the Ferrari. I really hope it is because I just bought it. So we better pick the Ferrari.
Ferrari's out of the choice now.
Well, my other choice was a Datsun, so iRacing better get on that one. I'm not looking to purchase any hardware over the off season. I kind of spent a lot this year on computer upgrades and rig stuff, but I'd like to update my button box to a metal one. So I built my own button box, and I just used a bunch of scrap wood that I had laying around, drilled some holes, slapped it all together. It looks like crap, but it's extremely functional. So I guess that's the important part there.
All right, sounds good. Phil Linden, you there?
Yeah. So unlike a lot of the other people on the team, I've been searching around for a series to run a lot. So I've done everything from oval, road, dirt oval, and dirt road. And over the past year, my iRating hasn't really gone up a lot. In all the series, it's either gone up or down by 200 iRating. But on the flip side, all of my win percentages and top 5 percentages have gone up. And in oval, I have a 32% top 5 percentage, but only a 1.19% win rate. So, I'm getting up there in terms of consistency, I guess, but can't quite seal the deal. And my biggest top 5 percentage and win percentage is on dirt road, where I have a 55% top 5 percentage.
Wow.
And 12.8 win percentage. So I guess that's where I probably should stay. But the racing hasn't been there. There's a few guys that are in there that race clean, but not a lot of people really know how to handle the rally cars. So we'll see how I do next year. What I really want to work on is kind of learning the basics of setups. I started doing that this year with Legends cars, and finding that one series to run and give a good points run to. As far as leagues go, well, I haven't really been racing NIS, but I've really settled in with the Reddit iRacing League, which is about 9 weeks of racing, different car, different track every week, and all but 2 of the weeks have free content, so I don't really need to buy anything to be in it. There's aliens in there, and there's also people a little bit more my pace, and it's really helped me improve my racecraft. So I'm going to stick with that league. And as far as hardware goes, I'm starting to transition away from a single screen and track IR to VR setup, borrowing my friend's VR headset. I just bought Tony Groves' old graphics card, so I can finally put out more frames there on the VR side of things. So hopefully my times improve. I can win some of these races.
If you
All
need
right.
some settings on your VR, but I just get with me. I run VR, so I show you some tricks of the trade to get the most out of it.
Good.
All right, very good. And yeah, sounds like a neat series that the Reddit one. All right, Tony Rochette, what do you got?
All right, I began the year with a 750 IR, and I'm currently now at a 1713. Back in June when I joined the team, I was about 800-ish, so almost 1,000
Big jump.
higher since I joined the team. I finished third in the NIS Open with only 15 weeks. I probably would have had second because the first place guy looked like he tanked his IR. The fixed, I finished fourth. Again, Division 8. The two top guys look like they tanked their iRacing, so that probably would have been another second place.
From your channel.
Let's see, no leagues this year. Next year, probably not. I know in 2020, I'll probably join the Old Bastards League when I turn 35. Yeah, I feel like waiting. Let's see, 24 hours. Yes, I'm going to probably run it. I'm going to be part of the B team, so it's going to be T squared. Ford or Ferrari, it don't matter to me. Let's see, hardware. I want to get a new, definitely a new wheel. I want to get 2.5. Also going to look like I want to update my CPU and my motherboard too. So hopefully I'll get that by the end of next year.
All right. All right, well, it's been a long show. Let's go right into final thoughts. Bobby Jonas, final thought.
Kind of glad to see the end of NIS kind of get refreshed for next year after joining you guys about midway through. It'd be nice to be able to run the whole season as a team. So just looking forward to that and looking forward to the Rolex.
All right, sounds good. Brent McCoy.
Yeah, getting started on the 24, starting to get my road racing up, getting used to the Ford GT and the Ferrari. Also looking forward to getting my Club Sport V2.5 base, the Elite steering wheel, the V3 inverteds. And today I got my DX Racer chair. So looking to get all that set up next week. And hopefully come NIS season, I'll be ready to get more than 4 wins. So.
All right, sounds good. Chris Scales, final thought.
Yeah, to make a long podcast even longer, Steve wasn't able to thank some people from the OBLR, and so I'm going to just read that real quick now. Sorry. The Old Bastards Racing League could not operate without the great team we have assembled to run the league. We have 5 guys that review each race in the series. Peter Cocoa Puffs Hopco reviews the Keener Farms trucks replays and writes an extensive replay article for the website. Kevin Rupert reviews the Seat Time Racing School Grand National Series. Rob Connors reviews the Metro Ford Cup Series, and Tom Ogle reviews the iRacers Lounge ARCA National Series. Longtime member Niles Clyde is the race review director who oversees all the reviews once they are submitted. We could not have such a successful league without these guys. It's a thankless job handing out penalties. Famous video director John Hastings produces, edits, and directs each of these 4 racing series highlight reels and then uploads them to the Old Bastards Racing League YouTube channel. The great videos that highlight the close door-to-door racing the league provides. This is great content for the league. Really appreciate all these guys do. It takes 8 guys, each working 20 to 60 hours a week to keep up the league prospering. I thought this was important just because this is what I was talking about, the guys that I can never remember or remember the names to think that make these leagues run different than what NIS does and are the reason why there's accountability and things run smoothly.
Yeah, it's no small task to run an efficient league, and it takes help. And so we tried to start one, and we had a guy dedicated to it, and when he left, we couldn't do it.
Yeah, we'll get one going eventually, but yeah, I mean, like you see, it takes a lot of time and effort from a lot of people to make a good league.
It does. We appreciate Steve and everything he's done for us. And yeah, thanks for going through that. Chris, what are your final thoughts?
I'm just kind of sad that the NIS season's over with, honestly, but I'll have to have some time to do some other racing I've been putting off, get better on road, and then all that stuff will get me ready for NIS next year.
All right, very good. David Hall.
I'm not particularly I can't talk today, or like any day. I'm not particularly sad about the NIS season ending. It wasn't a great season for me. I felt like Joe. I was caught up with accidents almost every time I could, whether it was them wrecking me or just stuff happening in front of me that just wasn't avoidable. I hope it settles down some next year. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that this year, we saw it in the stats. It was just a lot of impatient, small picture instead of big picture racing. I have had a blast this week seeing all the other guys come out onto IMSA, since IMSA's at Daytona this week, running some road course running with me.
All right, very good. Greg Hectus.
Just glad the season's over. It's, I'm still getting set in my new job, so I'm not on as often, but I've enjoyed some of the fresh takes of now that the guys are going to be racing the roads. It looks like the guys are, some guys are really into it now. So David's been really pushing it on the messenger, so it's good to see. So I'll be racing probably the road all winter here while we're in the off season, and go from there. So if anybody wants to watch me while I race, Frozen Cactus, twitch.tv/Frozen Cactus, Frozen with 2 O's, Cactus with 2 K's, and hopefully we'll get some good road experience, and we'll see you at 24 hours.
All right, very good. Joe Owen, final thought.
I'm like everybody else, Mike. Glad the NIS season is over with. Not a good year for me. Looking forward to the 24 and running that C7 prototype and wave at Junior as I run by him every lap if he's lucky enough to be in the split with us, and and just looking forward to racing a whole good year next year with the team and see what we can do with it. It can't get any worse than it did this year, so hopefully we can advance a little more in 2019.
All right, sounds good. Mason, you're next.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this team. Working on the podcast is a lot of fun, and excited to see where we go next year.
Okay, yeah, we're glad to have you. Phil Linden.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off. One other thing I meant to ask or tell y'all, I'm a member of a league. It's well known. It's called SOMO. Next year, y'all really need to join because Paul Zoda runs that league, and he is running the Cup Series next year. It's all live broadcasted, and he is opening it up to open setups for the cars just on the Cup race, and it's run on Thursday nights. I think the green flag flies at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all need to join. I mean, it's a good group of guys, and he's moving to open setup, so we can kind of use that as a test filter if need to be for NIS.
That's right. Yeah, we got to figure out exactly what we're all running and try to coordinate. Yeah, good point there, Joe. Thank you. Phil Linden, your final thought.
Yeah, so I don't run NIS, so I don't really care if it starts or ends. But this coming year, I'm really hoping to focus on my racecraft and not really worry about iRating. And I'm really, you guys brought up the different leagues you're running. The Reddit iRacing League is really something else. Really thankful to those guys. They have a broadcast every week as well. So hopefully learning from those aliens and trying to keep on their bumper, I'll start to see myself improve, along with the help from you guys. But yeah, just gonna keep chugging away, not worry about winning or losing, and just staying on track, and hopefully those numbers will come.
Okay, and thank you for being our token West Coast guy. Tony Groves, you're next.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet for the end of the NIS season. I mean, I look forward to those races every week. The last section of the season really was a huge bummer. I was like a few of the other guys, just constantly getting wrecked out, and but I was able to finish on a bit of a high note. The big takeaway for me this year was the amount that I learned. Now that I've been to all these tracks a couple of times, um, my racecraft this year I think is improved huge, and just me learning what the car is doing, and being able to react to that. So I see a lot of positive things happening for me going into the 2019 series. During the off season, though, like I said, I'm going to continue with the old bastards, and I'm going to get my streaming channel going here. And when the new ARCA season starts up with the old bastards, I'm gonna be streaming every one of those races. So anybody that wants to watch and check out how these guys do their thing, and how well these guys run, check me out. And once I get that all established, I'll throw up how to find me.
Yep, we'll put that on Tifosi Racing Facebook page, so check that out. Tony Rochette.
All right, I just want to say I'm thankful for joining the team and having you guys around, and you guys made things a lot better for iRacing for me. You've improved my racecraft and everything else. I also thank the fans that I see out on the track and recognize the paint scheme. Without the fans, the podcast and a lot of the stuff wouldn't be happening. I can't wait for the beginning of the NIS. I know it's 88 days till the Daytona 500, so yeah, can't wait.
All right, you had to remind us. Yeah, so it is bittersweet. My final thought is just that. Boy, you get so used to a schedule between February and November. You're going to race on a certain day at a certain time, and now that's over, and you're like, what do I do? What do I do with myself? And that's kind of how I feel right now. But I'll find something to do over the off season. As far as the competition this year, I mean, I think it's gotten better. I mean, overall, if you look at my stats of how I did last year to this year, they're pretty flat. I think I've gotten better, though, as a driver. And so that means that there's people that have gone into the service that are better than me, that have taken those spots from me, that are, in the points, and that put me down a little bit. And so I feel like I'm kind of where Joe is, where I'm at an I-rating wall, and I'm not really going to progress much more than where I've been. And but that's okay, and I appreciate the competition, and it's been fun, and I'm excited for the next year. I've participated in all the NIS seasons, and I have some of the best stats as far as most starts and those kind of things. So I intend to keep that up and continue that. So I got a new computer I'm real happy with, and thinking about getting a wheel as soon as I can afford it. So I'm looking forward to that, and thankful for the team. We've really grown a great group of guys. A lot of the people on this team have not been with us for a full NIS season. So I'm looking forward to next year when everybody can start fresh and try to make a start each week and see how they do in the points, over a full 36 weeks. Because that's really where the rubber meets the road. Can these guys compete in NASCAR? So that's what Team Tifosi is all about. And with that, we'll see you on the track. Take care. Later.
Take care, everybody.